Yes? No? You're not all alone, Fenton, I'm here. I know I don't quite count the same way.
No, you're good.
Am I good? Shucks.
You're my favorite deputy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Toy Story joke.
Okay. I haven't watched that for a very long time. So. I want to tell you a true story this morning, and I know it's a true story because it happened to me. The problem is it happened a long time ago, so sometimes what we think is true and what we remember isn't quite the same as how it actually happened. So it's as true as I can remember it. But it all started, and so I have a book, but we're actually going to sing this book at the end of the story, rather than hearing the story. And so 2 years ago, I know that's not a very long time ago, but 2 years ago to the day, it was my birthday, and I was in Victoria, and I went into 10,000 Villages, and I found this book called Whole World. And I opened it up, and I went, this is amazing. And it was amazing because it's a song that I sang 55 years ago in a church, United Church, when I was your ages. And it was just so familiar. And back then, when I was your age, and some of you may remember the song, it went, he's got the whole world in his hands, he's got the whole wide world in his hands, he's got the whole world in his hands, he's got the whole world in his hands. So, any of you know that song?
Yes.
Yes? You've heard that? It sounds familiar?
Yeah, that's familiar.
Well, back in those days, when we sang that we called it Sunday school. Now we call it here Children's Church. Although I think Michelle should work with you to come up with a new name, because we have children and we have preteens and we have teens. And so, did you hear that, Michelle?
I'm always one step ahead of you. It's been done.
It's going to be called
What can I say? Anyway, but we called it Sunday school back then, and I think it was called Sunday school because we were taught things. And so I was taught, when we sang the song, I was taught that God was a father in the sky that was really so big that he could hold the whole world in his hands.
Impossible.
Is that impossible?
Yes.
Well, that's what I was taught.
Wait, can you make
And-
the whole universe?
And I was taught that when good things happened, it's because God was happy. But when bad things happened, it was that God was either testing me or unhappy. And that didn't really feel right for me. And what I learned over the years, and where many of us are now, is that rather than seeing God as this guy in the sky, it's about how we feel God, and God is in us, in every one of us, and we know that when we love and when we're at peace and when things happen that start to change things in a good way. And so I bought 3 copies of this because I sent one to each of my grandchildren families and kept one for myself, because it starts with, we've got the whole world in our hands. That because God is in every one of us, we have the power to make things good in this world. It's in our hands. And so I wanted us to sing this together. And so the illustrations and the words are going to be up on the screen, and Elaine's going to give us a key. Oh, can you see those words? I may have to sing the first line for you, then you'll get it. And what happens in this song is it starts with we've, and then we go back and forth between he and she, but it's all the he's and all the she's. And if you want to be more gender inclusive, you might want to say they on one of them too. So whatever works. But then it starts with we've. We've got the whole world in our hands. 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 She's got the sun and the moon. She's got the sun and the moon in her hand. She's got the sun and the moon in her hand. She's got the sun and the moon in her hand. She's got the whole world in her hand. He's got mountains and valleys. He's got the mountains and the valleys in his hands. He's got the mountains and the valleys in his hands. He's got the mountains and the valleys in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. She's got plains and deserts. She's got the plains and the deserts in her hands. She's got the plains and the deserts in her hands. She's got the plains and the deserts in her hands. She's got the whole world in her hands. He's got the lakes and the rivers. He's got the lakes and the rivers in his hands. He's got the lakes and the rivers in his hands. He's got the lakes and the rivers in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. She's got trees and flowers. She's got the trees and the flowers in her hands. She's got the trees and the flowers in her hands. She's got the trees and the flowers in her hands. She's got the whole world in her hands. He's got the birds of the air. He's got the birds of the air in his hands. He's got the birds of the air in his hands. He's got the birds of the air in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. She's got the fish of the sea. She's got the fish of the sea in her hands. She's got the fish of the sea in her hands. She's got the fish of the sea in her hands. She's got the whole world in her hands. He's got the towns and the cities. He's got the towns and the cities in his hands. He's got the towns and the cities in his hands. He's got the towns and the cities in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. We've got the whole world in our 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 hands. And again. We've got the whole world in our hands. 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 All we have to do now is believe it.
Yes.
So you're welcome to head off to
Eat, play, love.
Eat, Play, Love.
Where's the sign? I need sign.
See you.